What's the best way to like really start it?
I said to figure this out before.
It doesn't matter. Shut up.
We should have written this down.
No,
Like a
it's
script.
not good to plan.
So we'll say our names,
Okay.
and then I guess who we are, like what we do, why like we're at all relevant to any life ever.
We're not.
And we'll say the name of the podcast. So I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Hayley.
and together we're writing duo shit. All right,
Get it together.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Hayley.
and together we're writing duo Elizabeth Hayley.
And we are not all right. And that's the podcast you're listening to right now.
A hodgepodge of our daily craziness and wacky lives. Thank you for listening. Done.
All right,
Perfect.
that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I think that was perfect. Hey.
Hey. All right. Are you like close to home? I know it's getting later, or
No, I'm getting on to, I don't know, Baltimore Pike.
oh, okay.
I just
All right.
wanted to wait because as I go past Newman a lot of times, like I lose reception. So I wanted to wait till I kind of got past.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. I didn't know if you were like talking to Eric and like closer to home or whatever. Okay. So did you look at what I sent?
Yes.
Okay. How does that like look? Is that
Yeah, that works.
okay? Okay.
And it'll be good because like I can talk about the plane thing too because I was obviously just away and
Yeah,
like saw all that and
Yes, I was thinking that. The one thing I realized too when I'm like listening to podcasts and stuff, especially with like a couple hosts like that, is they will like talk to the audience. So I think we need to do that, even though, you know, our audience is small, but some people are listening, like if you look at the thing. So like instead of just talking to each other, like I figured I'll talk about your birthday and ask how your trip was and stuff. And then I could be like, if you don't know, Elizabeth just turned 40. So she's in my decade now, blah, 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 blah. So like anytime we can like, I guess, talk to them, we can add that in too, so that it feels like, I don't know. I noticed they do that on some podcasts. So do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And then you can start with yours if you want. Like if I do the birthday thing and then I'm like, all right, well, other than being 40, how are you not all right or whatever? And then we can just go through it. And if I just like follow this, then you should be able to just kind of like chime in wherever.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. I'll do like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll just start. All right.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2. What happened? What was that?
Huh? Nothing.
Did you just like drop the phone or something? I didn't know what happened. It like made a weird noise.
I don't know. Nothing happened.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if it just like cut out weird or something. All right, let me do it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth and Hayley here, and we're back with another podcast. Elizabeth is back from her trip. She is now in my decade, which is 40. So,
40.
other than being 40, how are you not all right? And I want to hear about your trip.
Well, I'm not all right. I'll start with that. Because of youth sports today. Today I'm not all right because of youth sports.
Okay.
It's not youth sports in general. It's the timing of youth sports. So all youth sports should be over by 7 p.m. All of them. I don't care what it is.
I agree.
Over by 7 p.m. My son, because I was on my trip last week, I did not get to go to his first basketball practice. And because there's so many kids, they're like, it's always Tuesday nights, but the times are staggered. So he wanted me to go last night since I missed the first one. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. But his practice was at 8 o'clock.
Started at.
Until 9. It started at 8 and went until 9. I was like, what do you mean?
And for people that don't know, your son's 8. So, right? I don't think you just said that, but yeah, that's young.
And it's for 3rd and 4th graders or like 8, 9-year-olds.
Okay.
So like they're all fairly young, and yeah, I feel like that is too late to be playing a sport, getting yourself all riled up.
Yeah. People don't even like to work out. Like adults don't like to work out that late, I think, because it like pumps them up too much and they can't sleep. So
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing Orange Theory, I would go to like the 8 p.m.
Mhm.
and I'm always tired, so I did not have that problem.
Yeah.
But it was not a well-attended class.
Yeah.
But clearly, a lot of people do go that way.
I mean, I just know from like teaching, like for people that don't know, I taught some fitness classes and kind of like ran a fitness group, I guess. And so I know from the people who attended, more people always attended the 5:15 a.m.s than like the 8 p.m.s. And no one, like very few people wanted to teach the 8 p.m.s. A couple instructors like would fill in, but they would always say like, I remember them texting like, I don't know how you guys teach this at 8 p.m. Like I took me like 3 hours to fall asleep, after that. I'm like, I guess you're one way or the other. Like I'm not a 5:15 a.m. person. So yeah, I always went like when I did Orange Theory and CrossFit, I always went to the later ones too. But yeah, for kids, I mean, Nolan has trouble sleeping anyway. So he had karate at 7, like in the summer, which is fine. But then we had to switch him back to the 5 p.m. because he can't come down from it. Like he's too pumped.
It's rough.
So, and
I mean,
they have so many
didn't.
practices, like sports
Yeah,
in general.
I mean, he didn't have it. He didn't have an issue going to bed, thankfully. But it was like he usually goes up to bed at 8:30, and then I go up and read him a story at 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, we're all messed up because we didn't even get home until 9.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like showers and all of that and just getting things like ready for the next day. That sucks. Oh, it's a good thing that Nolan doesn't do really any sports except for that, which isn't really sports. So what else? Like I want to hear about your trip, but if you have other reasons that you're not all right, I need to hear those too, because I have about 1,000.
I have a million reasons why I'm not all right, but I'll hold them for future
Okay.
fodder for podcasts. But yeah, I mean, the trip was great. It was definitely a relaxing way to turn 40. I went with my aunt, so there was no kids. I did definitely miss them.
Mm-hmm.
I really kept kind of thinking like, oh man, they would really, really like this. They would really, really like this. Especially my aunt took me to the cenotes down there, which are like giant sinkholes. There's like 2,000 of them across Mexico. And we went to 4 of them, and the guide told us like, don't bring your phones even if they're around your neck, like don't bring your hats, don't bring sunglasses. Like literally, if you drop it, it's gone. And the very first thing we did, we had to go down a water slide, and the moment I hit the water, my hat fell off, my sunglasses sank to the bottom. I was like, oh.
Wait, so you didn't listen to anything he said?
I didn't bring my phone.
Okay.
So here's really what happened. We had to wear life vests, obviously, for, safety.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hit the water from the water slide, my vest flew open.
What do you mean it flew open? Like in the
buckles open.
Oh.
And my hat was buckled to my vest. So my hat went flying. I wasn't wearing it. It was buckled in.
Oh.
And my sunglasses were actually in my hand, but the way that I kind of got jarred by because the vest opening caused me to not kind of sink how you would naturally sink. I don't know. So then I kind of flailed and I lost my sunglasses.
I wish someone had brought a phone to get a video of that, because it sounds amazing to have witnessed that. Did your aunt see it or no?
Oh yeah, and I have a picture of me coming up and I look like I'm drowning.
I don't even understand completely what a sinkhole is, but that's probably an explanation for another time. I don't get how you can go to them, but you're not sinking yourself, but if you're just looking over it, I don't understand.
No, it's just a hole with water in it.
So, but you can go in the water, but it's not gonna.
Yeah, that's the whole point. You go in the water. It's not like I mean, it's not like actively sinking. It's just like a depressed part of
Okay.
the earth where water has filled it.
So basically, whatever you drop,
puddle.
it's like a black hole. Like, you're fine because you're on the top swimming, but if something sinks, there's no like bottom where you can get it.
No, I mean, there is a bottom, but it's like 50 meters down, so you're not going to be able to get to it.
Yeah, that's not one you can swim to. 50
So he's
meters,
like, it's gone.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of sunglasses, I'm assuming yours were not prescription, but Nolan broke my prescription sunglasses yesterday because I left them on my seat of my car. So they are cracked completely in half, but they did last longer than I thought they would. I think I got them like 4 years ago. So it's not terrible. I managed to keep them for that long because when I go to the beach, I do my best not to wear those into the ocean because the same thing you said, like, a wave hits me and like sunglasses are gone. I have worn them in and I've lost them for a little bit of time, and then I've somehow found them or someone else has found them. So, they've had their 9 lives and I guess they were up. So now I can't see anything because I refuse to spend money around Christmas on sunglasses. Like, I'll just wait till the summer. I can't see any street signs. Whatever. So did you eat cake for your birthday, and was it like a Mexican cake? Is that a dumb question? Like, they always have like weird desserts, different like, actual Mexican desserts at restaurants and stuff. So, or did they have like a typical cake for you?
So, I mean, the funny thing is that my Aunt Kathy definitely told them it was my birthday, and they put up like in the elevators, every day they change like the sheet and it says like what the activities are, and it also names people who were there for birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. And it had both of my aunts' names on as the birthday, but not mine. Like, the only person whose birthday it was not on the sheet, but the 2 people I was with whose birthday it was not, they made the sheet.
That's amazing. Which I'm sure you were happy about.
Yeah, it was fine. And then we came back one night, and there was 2 pieces of cake waiting, clearly for my aunts, because it was their birthday. And it was just vanilla cake.
Oh, okay. Were they like dying? Did they think that was so funny that there were cake for them and not for you?
Yeah, I mean, neither of them wanted it, so I mean, I got my cake.
Yeah,
I only ate one, but
well deserved after your 1,200 calorie streak there.
I know, I was doing well.
Yeah, are you back to old ways?
Oh yeah, it's a bloodbath of carbs.
yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing too. So yeah, I'm also not all right because of the way I've been eating. A couple episodes ago, we talked about that app that I bought for $60, which I've since deleted off of my phone because I was using it so infrequently and it kept giving me notifications to import what I was eating, and I felt like I was being harassed and I wasn't doing it. So I just deleted the $60 app from my phone so I won't feel like such a failure.
Did you at least like also unsubscribe so that like cancel the subscription so you don't get charged next year for it?
That's a good question.
Or is it a one-time?
That's a good question. If our listeners can hold on for a moment, I'll check. No, I don't know. I need to check. That's a good point. Cut to next year when I'm like, fuck, what's this $60 charge? Like we did with Masterclass.
Oh God.
Yeah, I forget how that even happened, and I never went back in and did it. But so I mean, most of my not all rights are ailments. Not surprisingly. So I told you about my chipped tooth, right? So I have like these this bonding stuff because when they took off my braces, just a little backstory for people, when they took off my braces in like middle school or whenever that was, or early high school, it like peeled off part of my enamel. I have soft teeth or something, I've been told, which I don't really know what that means, but anyway, it like left marks on my teeth. So I had that fixed years ago, and it's not supposed to last forever, and it's basically on its last legs. So 4 teeth that I'm going to need crowns for. I have gotten the spot fixed on my front tooth because I think you can see a shadow like a darker spot, and I'm totally self-conscious of it. Now it's only like in certain lights, which of course is my bathroom lights. So when I look at myself when I'm getting ready in the morning, I look like a cracked out whore because I have like what I perceive to be a black spot on my tooth, because it has chipped away again. So it's been 3 times now I've gone back and they fixed it, and within days each time it has come off again, like just as I'm brushing my teeth. So they told me, they go, well, that's your dead tooth. I was like, what? Remember when I almost lost my tooth, for everybody, years ago. I felt like I was teething, and no, it was like my tooth dying and basically the root eating itself. So I had to get some kind of crazy root canal. They said I should have lost my tooth. They managed to save it. Now looking back on it, I'm like, I wish they would have replaced it, because then I don't have to pay for it now. Because now it's like a cosmetic thing that I have to pay for. So my tooth is chipped again. My left hip is killing me. My right calf is still killing me. So I cannot run. I did dry needling at the physical therapy place I sometimes work at. And she told me basically I should not have been running like I was, because it's just not ready to do that. And I'm like, well, but I'm old and I feel old, so there's something always hurting. I don't know really the difference between when I shouldn't be doing something and when I should kind of like push through it. So pretty much my whole body hurts, and I'm using that as an excuse not to do anything. And little flashback or little allusion to our Mom Fails episode, which we did a while back, when we used to do our podcast a couple years ago. I talked about how I got into the wrong car at Nolan's daycare years ago. Well, I almost did it again. I was leaving. So back then I think it was like a dark red Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee. So pretty common in terms of the type of car, and it was dark, and I was dropping him off early in the winter. So it was still dark, and I got into what I think was like a black one and tried to drive away, and it wouldn't turn on or whatever. And then I realized I was in the wrong car because it was like a weird stuffed animal or something on the seat. But I went into Wawa the other day, and I parked on the end, and I remember thinking, oh, good, I got a spot like out front. Yeah, it's at the end, but Wawa parking lots are crazy. For people that don't know, it's a amazing convenience store by us that has gas and a million other things. And now I drive a bright blue Jeep Compass. So it's always easy to find when I forget where I parked, which is frequently. I can kind of like look around for the blue, because I'm not driving like a white SUV, which is all I see. So I come out, and I immediately like just walk to this blue car that right before I tried to get into it, I realized was not mine. But it was, I had my hand on the door handle. It obviously probably wouldn't have opened unless it was unlocked, but yeah, I would have gotten right in if it was unlocked and would have done the exact same thing. This is broad daylight. And that car was parked basically right in front of the doors. So I'm clearly an idiot, because I was in the store for like all of a minute and a half or something, getting coffee or whatever. And I come out, and I just walked right to like the first blue car that I saw. It had a black like roof. It didn't even look like when you actually looked at it, it didn't really actually look like mine, other than it was the same type of car and the same color, but there were definitely obvious differences that I didn't notice as I was walking to someone else's car. And my last one is I accidentally wore like slippers to help out at the holiday shop yesterday at Nolan's school. So there's that. I was wearing them around the house, and they're the kind that are like not Uggs, because I'm not spending money on that, but they're like, they look like that, and they're slip on. And I wear them out sometimes, like just to run into a store, because they actually do have like real bottoms. It's like they're not actual slippers, but people wear them as slippers, I guess. And that's how I usually wear them. And I accidentally still had them on and just drove to school and then got out of the car and was like, fuck, I'm like still in these things and I look like an idiot. So, but no one said anything, thankfully. So.
Do you remember the time you met your mom? I think it was like at the mall or somewhere,
Yes.
and she had 2 different shoes on.
Yes. It was sandals. We were gonna shop for a dress for her for my brother's wedding, and she is not a dress person. For people that have never seen her or don't know her, she'd be a fun one to talk to. But yeah, I looked down and she had 2 different like hideous sandals on. They were like those weird, not Birkenstocks, but they had straps all over them, and they were a similar color and a similar style, but they clearly were not the same. And when I pointed it out, she didn't see a difference in them, which is even worse. She just kind of was like, "No, what do you mean they're the same?" Yeah, I mean that happens all the time to her. Like that's nothing new. So I've, as Nick likes to tell me all the time, I've basically like turned into her. So it's not looking good for me. Not looking good.
Amazing.
We wanted to talk today about some social etiquette that is just like unspoken rules that people don't follow, or maybe they do, or they should. And you recently traveled, and I feel like a lot of them have to do with public transportation. So we did
The
ask
plane's
some
a nightmare.
people. Yeah, like what did you see? So you 3 probably sat together, which is nice, right?
No, we did not.
Oh.
My
Okay.
aunt was like, I'm not paying extra to choose our seats, so she just let American choose our seats.
Okay.
So on the way there, my one aunt and I did sit together. On the way back, none of us sat together. But so the first thing that's annoying is like the boarding groups. Like if we were boarding group 9, so that's your last boarding group.
Yeah.
I don't understand the people who are in boarding group 9. I mean, honestly, including one of my aunts who then like tries to push toward the front when they're on like boarding group 2. Like you can't go on. I don't know why you're up there. You're just blocking people. On the way back, she did it, and they actually pulled her out of line and searched her bag. And I was like, that is karma, because you were trying to get in early, and
They
were not allowed
probably
in
were
early.
like, this old lady's probably gonna put a bomb on here. She really wants to get in. I don't understand why anyone wants to get on the plane early, actually. Like I'm always happy when I'm in the later spot, and usually even if I have an earlier one, I will wait and get on at like 8 or 9, because I don't want to sit there confined in a spot for longer than I need to.
So I agree. I mean, my one aunt was, and on the way home, my one aunt was boarding group 6, so she went on earlier, and then my other aunt, who's in boarding group 9 with me, got in line, and she's motioning to me like to come on, and I'm just sitting, and I'm like, I'm not coming. I'm like, why would I want to get? I don't want to get on the plane.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
agree, but I can totally picture you just like staring, like, no, I'm not going.
I'm not going on. Like, I don't want to sit next to who God only knows who I'm sitting next to for any longer than I have to be sitting next to them. I refuse. And then there's, I also, so how do you feel about the people who clap when the plane lands?
Oh God, they need to go sit next to the people who clap when a movie ends.
I don't, it's his job. Like, I'm thankful. I'm also incredibly thankful that he landed the plane, but like, that is his job to land the plane.
Yeah.
Or her job. I don't mean to be sexist in terms of pilots.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we clapping? Why are we clapping?
I know.
When I finish my last class of the day, is someone clapping for me?
No.
I mean, I don't have lives. I mean, I understand, like, in a certain sense, that there's like a gravity to the job, so you don't fall out of the air. But I mean, come on, people.
Well, it also is almost insulting, like in a way, because I feel like you should just kind of take for granted that the person's gonna get you there safely. It doesn't. Clapping is almost like look, if I had flown a plane, I deserve a fucking standing ovation if I can land that shit. Like, but this person that's what, like you said, that's what they're trained to do. So clapping is almost like, did you not expect me to land it? What did you think was going to happen here? Like, I get it. One time Nick has a friend from high school, his good friend Chris, and his parents went somewhere years and years ago, and they were telling us when they got back, like the landing gear didn't come down. And so the pilot had to land it on the belly of the plane. Obviously, that you can clap for that.
Yes, that deserves it.
Yeah, but like just landing, especially on a short flight, I don't know. I don't know why they do it, because also, like, can the pilot even hear? Isn't that fucking thing soundproof, bulletproof, bomb-proof? Like,
I thought so.
So who hears
according to the TV series Hijacked, yes, it is.
Okay. Oh, I started that, but we never finished it. I forgot all about it. Oh my gosh. It was good too. But yeah, I agree. And we went, like I said, the movie thing. We went to a movie recently, and these two women next to us, so we went to see The Marvels, which was good. So two older women, which I thought was odd to begin with, like an odd demographic to go. But they were hysterically laughing. I mean, there were definitely funny parts, like in all Marvel movies, but they would like crack up, and then at the end they clapped, and they were the only ones that clapped. And I feel like, yeah, it's just weird, like people who do that sort of stuff near you, next to you.
I feel like it's especially weird to movie because nobody in the movie would ever know you clapped.
Right. Yes. You're not at a play.
At least, like, yeah, it's not a stage production. I mean,
yeah, I know. I mean, like, you really should clap for, I don't know, somebody who gets like your order right at the drive-thru before you clap for someone who's never gonna know. Like, I don't know. It just seems odd to me. But yeah, so we asked for people to comment on things that they find really, really annoying that people do. And so for a couple people commented for public transportation. So Jackie said, people who don't understand plane etiquette, when exiting, there's the people standing too early. No one wants your butt in their face. Or those coming from the back thinking they're more important to get off the plane before anyone else. Listen, I will bust out in front of people like that. I do not care. That's just a little aside by me. Row by row people, Jackie said, if you have a connecting flight you have to get to, buy a seat closer to the front of the plane. I also had someone tall ask me to switch seats because he had the middle and I had an aisle seat. Nope, I pay for the aisle for a reason. You know you're tall, dude. You shouldn't have a cheap seat, and you should have purchased your seat ahead like I did. End of rant. Thanks for the platform. Jackie, I agree 1000%. I love that she told this dude who was tall, like, nope, not happening.
Yeah, I mean, especially like if you do what we do, like, and we didn't pay any money for our seat, we just let it be assigned, so that we give up all right to dictate where that seat is. Like, we gave that up. We gave that right up.
Yeah, and I mean, if someone's gonna like pay you for it, that's a different story. I might consider it, but otherwise, no. Like when you go to purchase, those aisle seats are prime. They're definitely more expensive. So yeah, I mean, I'm with her 100%. Laura said people sitting too close to you on public transportation and not wearing deodorant. Also, so yeah, I mean, I guess if there are like multiple seats and someone on a bus or like train or whatever tries to just like sit there just to feel close to someone, nope.
I feel even like when you're standing, a few times that I've been on the subway in New York, like when they're packed, I mean, even when you're standing, people are standing like right on top of you, and their arms are up because they're holding to the grab bar, and like, so if they're not wearing deodorant, it's a bad situation.
I know. I don't know why people who don't wear deodorant or it wears off, why they can't smell themselves. So yeah, public transportation, I definitely don't love it because I always feel like I'm gonna get sick too when people are near me. And then there were quite a few about stores. So Margie said people who leave their shopping carts in random places instead of walking 20 feet to the cart corral. The alternative is, well, so it's someone's job to like take them. So I guess it keeps people employed, which would be someone's argument. But I mean, those people are going to have to get the carts regardless. So.
And I feel like it's their job to get it from the corral. Like, I do feel like that
That's
is
what
like
I'm saying.
common
Yeah.
courtesy. Like, that's a common courtesy thing to me, just because other people have to park in that lot. And if they can't park because the cart's there or your cart rolls into someone's car,
Yep.
like, it's just common courtesy to put the damn thing back.
I know. And like, I always try to park, if there are spaces available, park close to one because I'm lazy and I just want to drop it off right there when I'm done. But if I can't get a spot, I will walk it over. Shelly said not getting off your phone when you're in line at the grocery store or anywhere someone is providing customer service. It's just rude. I agree.
So is it rude when you're in line or when you're being waited on? Like, if you're in a line of like 5 people, like, I might scroll through my phone while I'm in
no, I
line.
think she means talking.
Oh yeah, no, that's so rude.
Yeah, I took it to mean she was talking. I feel like it's not rude at all to look through your phone even when you're getting like checked out or whatever, when someone's like ringing you up, because you could be looking for anything, a coupon, like paying with like a mobile app like Apple Pay or something like that. They don't really know what you're doing. But yeah, talking, and it's everyone that talks, I feel like no one is actually talking about anything important. Because you can hear them because they're always loud.
Yeah,
So,
and I also really don't like FaceTime in public.
oh,
Like, just
yes.
take your call. I mean, I get it that and that's probably like a generational thing, because I feel like a
Yes.
lot of like people younger than us, like, that's just like their norm to talk on FaceTime. But like, I mean, and I'm like a really nosy person. So I actually would be someone who would want to hear your conversation, but I don't in that capacity. Like, I don't like,
Well, they're never
just
interesting.
put it up to your ear and you have the conversation and be done with it.
Anytime there's a FaceTime call, that's not an emergency. No one FaceTimes you with an emergency. Like, that's never, I don't think. I don't know. Maybe it is generational.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, and to go back to the kids' activities thing too, because, and what's appropriate on a phone and whatever, like what is appropriate. So at Nolan's Karate, it's a small, like it's, obviously just like a little studio, and there's nothing separating where the parents sit who choose to stay, where the parents sit and where the kids are practicing. So some people will have their headphones in, and just be like listening or watching something. Some people will not have headphones in and be listening and watching something. Some people will be on a phone call, like what Shelly said, like just chatting away while their kids are trying to like listen to the instructor and stuff. That one woman, I think I told you this a while ago, I was sitting behind her because it's like 3 different rows, and she was watching something on her phone, and just like you said, because I'm always nosy, I looked to see what it was, and it was some kind of like softcore porn in another language. So obviously probably watching a softcore porn is not appropriate at a children's activity, even if it's in another language like this was. Although I enjoyed it, I mean, it was definitely more interesting than what was happening on the mat. But what is actually appropriate?
I mean, I really do think that where there are a lot of other people in an enclosed space, you should not be doing anything that they have to listen to.
I agree.
So even if it's just your half of a conversation, like, go outside. I don't think you should subject anyone to your auditory noise if it can be avoided. I mean, in a big venue, obviously, where things are loud, like, that's fine. But when you're kind of like in an enclosed space,
or outside,
I think you should definitely go outside if you're in an enclosed space, try to take a call or watch whatever.
I agree. I agree with that. I've gone outside plenty of times to take calls there, even like when it's freezing out. Like I remember being like, oh my God, my hands are so cold or whatever outside, but I won't talk in there. And there's one dad that he always has to have like his Bluetooth headset in like he's like saving the world or whatever. And every now and then he'll answer a call or get on his phone and do something. And he does it at like the belt ceremonies too. And I think it's so rude. But something I frequently do there is write. So if, we always have things to write, and I'll bring my iPad or my computer or whatever, and I'll put my headphones in and sit, and I will be writing. And a lot of times I don't notice what's going on around me, because if I get like focused enough, I'm just looking at the screen. I usually have my music pretty loud, not loud enough that I think anybody can hear it, but loud enough that, with the like AirPod, what is it called? Like background, like silencing or whatever the hell it is. You really can't hear anything else. And all of a sudden around me the one night, I'm like writing, and all of a sudden around me, I notice people are clapping. And I'm like, what's happening? Well, here it was the first cohort of kids to get black belts. And they were like calling them up one by one, not to give the belts, because like that's a different ceremony, but basically to like recognize the kids in the class that they go to. And my iPad has a Bluetooth keyboard that is so loud when I type on it. It's like, which I also feel bad about, but not bad enough not to do it. Because it's not like a kids can hear it. Like someone next to me probably could, but I don't really care. But these kids were all getting recognized, and everyone was clapping and like filming. People were filming, and there I am just writing whatever sex scene or something I'm writing. And yeah, I felt kind of bad, but I was completely oblivious to like any of that taking place. I don't know.
Yeah,
Keyboard taps, not terrible, but
no, that because I feel like they don't know what you're doing. Like for all they know, I am an important, executive
yeah.
doing whatever. Like they don't, in that case, I feel like when you're, I don't know. I mean, I get it kind of as like a slippery slope because, well, I'm taking a call for work, so that's the same.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I don't really know necessarily where to draw that line.
This one, Stephanie said, I've never honestly really thought about this. Going in and out on the right, is it that hard to follow directional patterns? So I think about it if I'm in like a hallway or something, or a stairway, but I've never actually consciously thought about going into a store, like where you have to pull open the doors, or even a automatic door, like that I need to be on the right. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I always go in on the right.
Oh, okay. Noted. Sorry to the general public. That can like, I don't know, because I feel like if sometimes people go out on the other side, so then I
Yeah,
don't
they're
know.
also
Just a
wrong.
free for all, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, thanks, Stephanie, for letting me know. Um, and then Debbie said this one's a big one, not saying thank you if someone's kind enough to hold the door for you. And also I'm adding not holding the door for someone. But it's one of those weird things, like, have you ever, I'm sure people listening have done this, where you see somebody who's maybe like 15 steps behind you, and you're like, I'm not going to hold the door for that person, like it's going to be awkward, excuse me, and weird. And so you don't make eye contact with them, like you don't let them know that you've then seen them, because then you're going to be obligated socially to hold the door for them.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
it's like an awkward.
being socially awkward naturally, I think about that all the time because I have a lot of like anxiety around those kinds of things, like those kinds of
Opening
scenarios.
doors.
Yeah, like, but like with someone being on the right, like that is something that probably most people maybe don't even think about, but I like obsessively think about it because I don't ever want to be in anyone's way. Um,
Oh,
and
okay.
so yeah, I do think that that is, probably something that I really like. I'm like, is this person close enough to where I hold it? Is it rude if I let go? Like what, I think about that all the time. Even like at work, like if someone's a little bit behind me, I'm like, oh, now I have to open it. And then the
I
person behind you feels
know.
like they have to like run to hurry up
I
to,
know.
it creates a whole chaos vortex and I don't know how to avoid it.
Yeah. I mean, at work, when I was working there, I would always joke if it was like somebody that I would speak to enough, I'd be like, come on, if you don't hurry up, this is getting shut. and then I'd usually like shut it right before they got there, like just to like mess with them. And also because I didn't feel like waiting the whole time. But yeah, it is awkward when it's like somebody that's hustling to get there and you're like, well, now I really have to wait because they're doing this so that I don't hold the door longer, but like I don't have to hold the door at all. And then we could all just be comfortable. I could go in and this person could take their time, but like, why don't we do that? And the store thing, this, so no one brought this up, but I need to talk about tipping. Because it's getting out of hand. I'm not
It is out
tipping
of hand.
everyone. I'm not tipping everyone. Sorry. I worked for years at places and didn't get a fucking tip. And there were places where you should tip sometimes. Restaurants, like I used to work at a pizza place and I would bring food out to people and clear off their thing. Like it was just a little, pizza shop, but I was still doing more than like, oh, this is how much you owe, and handing them something someone else prepared in a bag and then asking
Well,
them for a tip.
Well, so I do wonder sometimes, like, is that just the way that certain like credit card machines are coming now? Like, is that like a default setting to add a tip? Because there are certain places where like they'll even just like if they do it themselves, like they'll just hit no tip. Like they kind of
Oh,
know that it's not a situation that you would tip in. So it makes me
okay.
wonder if that is just like a setting, like when you get a new credit card machine, it's just there.
Oh,
And yeah, I
maybe.
mean, I can kind of like understand to an extent that like we can progress and like, okay, we didn't use a tip and that doesn't mean that we don't have a tip now. Like we can be better. But like, like for example, like I would never like because I'm not here when they deliver things, like I feel like, an Amazon driver or a FedEx driver, like I don't tip them, but then why do I have to tip in this other circumstance that's very similar? Like if someone from like Raymore and Flanagan drops off, and I'm not saying that
Yep,
they assemble it, like they're just dropping off furniture.
that's
Well,
true.
how is it different? Like, why do I have to tip that person, but I don't tip those people? Like, where is the line? I think that is more what it is. It's not like, I just want to, can we just all agree who we're tipping and who we're not? Like, can there be a list of people we're supposed to tip and that we're not? I just want to get on the same page. Because my
Yeah, and
default then
it's
is to feel bad and I tip everybody because I'm just
it's
like, well, I
so
don't know if I tip who or
situational.
not.
It's so situational because even like I think like about a dog groomer. And so there when we had the golden retriever, there was a woman that used to come to our house with like a van and she would groom Phoebe. And I would tip her every time. But like I don't if you take your dog to like PetSmart, are you tipping them? I don't You're already paying like a pretty big amount of money, I guess. But then when you go to get your hair done or nails or, whatever, like you're tipping that person and you're paying a ton for that. So, like, when do you tip? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they're both providing services. They're both, I don't know, it's not like they're getting $5 an hour, like, what people like waiting tables and stuff used to make or whatever, where like the bulk of their income comes from tips. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like whatever, we just need to, as a society, decide who we're tipping and who we're not. We need to just come
Hmm.
together
Yeah.
and figure it. I mean, I feel like honestly, before world peace, we need to figure out this tipping situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not tipping. I'll tell you where I'm not tipping. Not tipping for fast food when you flip
No.
that screen around and say, like, oh, there's a question. They say, like, oh, there's a question. Or like, even Panera does it. And I'm like, you're not making my food. You're not bringing it out to me. You are strictly taking my money. Why would I tip you? If anything, I would tip the people making the food over what you just did. But like there's not even an option. So like I'm not tipping you. I was at a coffee shop the other day. I ordered a cup of coffee, waited for it, and this is like it wasn't Starbucks. It was like a, private type of place. And yeah, they flip the screen around and they go, "There's going to be a question for you." Like we all know what the fucking question is, dude. And this is a problem because I don't pay in cash. If I paid in cash, then the funny part is if I pay in cash, I'm more inclined to tip because
Oh yeah, I'm like, oh, just keep that. Yeah,
yep,
just keep it, or just give me
yep.
$1 back or whatever.
Yeah, or like they usually have a jar and I will always throw the change in and like, So Nick is obsessed with Brewster's. My husband gets it every week. He's like regimented with eating, but every week, Saturday night, he has to have Brewster's. He will tip those people like $4. And I'm like, you're insane. Like, he's like, no, like they get it right. They're getting a good tip. He like watches them to see if because they do mess it up sometimes, but he will tip them all the time regardless. But I mean, he's tipped like $5. The thing will be like 25, 23, and he'll like give them $30 and be like, keep the change. But like, I mean, he's not a huge tipper at every, he tips a normal amount, but I feel like that I'm like, okay, like that's a big tip for just like scooping ice cream. I mean, like good for them, but I worked at Rita's Water Ice for years and never got like, we had a tip jar out, and I think we'd have a few things in there, but nothing like that.
Well, I also wonder sometimes, like the coffee house thing, like, are they all sharing it? Like, are they accumulating the tips and then
True.
saying, all right, this is being split 4 ways, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, how many people are working? I mean,
Yeah.
but I just don't want to be put into these situations anymore. I want just an answer. Yes, we're
Yeah.
tipping these people, we're not tipping them. And then I feel like that's it.
Yeah. No, we'll never get that.
No.
But it'd be nice. And then last one really is elevators. Can we also be normal on an elevator?
No.
I feel like every time I'm on an elevator, I am like the only person other than whoever I'm with that will wait for people to get off the elevator before I get on. Ebony mentioned spacing, and this can be on an elevator or anywhere, but like, why the why the fuck are you standing so close to me? Like, yeah, I mean, there are people all the time that like won't move when someone gets in an elevator, or won't move over if someone's waiting in line or get up on you when you're waiting in line for, to be like checked out at a store. Like, back up.
Yeah, when my husband and I are together, we'll like comment on it. Like like I'm standing back and he like turns around, like, he's looking back at me and there's someone close. I'll be like, "Do you ever feel like someone is like right on top of you?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, I have felt like that." And he'll be like, "Do you feel it now?" And I'll be like, "I do feel it a little bit right now."
Do they
Um,
have they ever noticed or done
I don't
anything?
know. No one has ever said any, like, ever commented.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't happen that often. I do feel like the benefit is that like my husband and I just ourselves take up like space. Um, so I don't, necessarily
Yeah.
have people encroaching on me all that often. But I mean, I will definitely like throw a nasty look, like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. I've said something only one time, but I was in line at Acme, I think it was, and there was somebody. She was the only person behind me, and she was practically touching the back of my body.
Yeah, I don't
And
understand. I don't.
I like moved up a little bit, but I was already. It was a counter that it wasn't like a normal checkout, so I think it was like the customer service or something where you're facing the counter. So
Mm-hmm.
she was behind me and I couldn't move up anymore. And when I moved up, she also then moved up. And I'm like, you're not like in traffic here. This isn't like you can back up. So I kind of like looked back at her, like what you just said, and then she didn't move. And I was like, you're really close to me. And she didn't say anything. And then I finally said, can you back up? Like, just like this. Can you back up? You're like practically touching me. And she took like one step back and didn't say anything.
People are, I don't know, some strange birds out
Yeah.
there.
I also almost had to fight a mom at Dave and Buster's not that long ago because she said something to Nolan. He was like waiting for a machine and it was pretty crowded and he wasn't like super close to them. But I guess she felt like he was like too close or waiting for them and they didn't want to be like rushed. It was really weird because all of a sudden this mom marches off and we were at like the machine down, marches off and mumbles something to him and he got like, what? And I was like, what did she just say to you? And he goes, she said, okay, you don't need to be that close to me. Back up. And I went to go follow this person. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And Nick had to grab me and say, it's not worth it. I was ready to fuck someone up. I was like, no, like, you're real cool, like yelling at a kid, I don't know. Like, who does that?
I don't know.
So, but yeah, it'd be nice if people could learn how to act. But I'll remember, what I took away from this was to walk in on the right side of a store and walk out on the right side. Unless you're in England,
well, that's good.
Then I guess it's left.
I don't know what their I don't know what their rules become, but
yeah. Well, if you're listening and you have made it to the end, let's do a round of applause. But also, if you could leave a review, it does help us. And yeah, tell someone about it, or even just give us a rating. That'd be awesome. Obviously, as long as the rating's good, which I guess if you made it here, it is. And yeah, that's it. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
The podcast We're Not All Right is an Elizabeth Hayley production. Nothing is written, everything's a free-for-all, and everything is edited by Hayley. Listen to We're Not All Right wherever you find your podcasts. Thanks for listening.